Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and present at today's meeting are.
Yeah, and I will say, so Don Radke, Cynthia Carter, Dan Leary, Jeff Romano, Julia Marshall, and Bob Haley. And we are waiting for Lisa Tonsi and Tom Cantwell.
Okay, sounds good. Moving on to a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
So moved.
I'll
Have a
second that.
Okay, any changes, modifications?
Yes, I had some. I sent them in to Kate.
Okay.
Should I read them to you, Kate? I'll be glad to.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, Bob. I didn't see that you'd sent me.
Okay.
This.
Not a problem. I sent them in as a backup. Let me try and read them.
Sent them to Kate. If you sent them to Kate, that should be okay.
I'll just-
So we've got a motion seconded to accept the minutes as submitted and amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Okay.
Okay, if the applicant on 700 North Salina is going to be on the call, we'll wait on that one on old business. And we'll go to CA-20-08, 1204 James Street, site work and stair rebuild.
Yes, and
Kate, you want to fill us in on that?
Sure, and I believe that the applicant is on the line. As
okay.
well. Yep.
Ed here, Kate?
I'm sorry.
Is Ed here?
Ed is not here at this point.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm here, but I had expected him. And I sent him a reminder last night.
Okay, so
Okay, can you give us your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name's Andrea Wandersee. I'm the executive director of NEDA at 101 Gertrude Street, 13203.
and Don.
Okay.
Don. And why don't we wait? Why don't we skip to just as you were suggesting that we skip over to the James Street, because we do have the applicant there, and then we'll wait for Ed to come
Okay,
on the call.
that's what I
yeah.
hope. So the
Yeah.
applicant at 1204 James Street, can you please give us your name and address for the record?
Good morning. This is Basim Al Qureshi, 1204 James Street, Syracuse, New York, 13203.
Okay,
Thank you and welcome.
so,
Thank you.
great. So why don't you let us, the floor is yours. Why don't you fill us in on what you're doing? And Kate, if you want to add anything, that'd be great.
Thank you so much. I submit some paperwork about the change I have to do to be more comfortable with my house. This house actually, over a couple of years, nobody do anything outside or to fix. Also inside the house. I think the owner, he was in Florida, still is in Florida. When I bought, nobody take care outside for the leaf, for the garden, for the trees, no any clean, because it's very hard to clean. And also there's big problem in this garden. The ground is uneven. So I don't know, he make like some hill here, some down here. Nobody can walk, nobody can do anything. Also because a lot leaf never can be the grass growing up. So what I want to do to put topsoil to make the ground level also is this is low area, very low area, comparative with the street, with my house, with my neighbor, with anything is low area. I don't know what they do before, so I just want to add topsoil to make nice topsoil to make the areas green. Also, the green, all of the green in the especially in the yard, in the back of the yard, is seasonal tree. So, and it's like jungle tree. A lot leaf every year. When I try to clean with my family, we work one day, we don't clean more than couple yard. Yeah, no more than couple yard we can clean, and we take a lot leaf. So some of these trees not really good, and really I remove some of them is not good. And I need to bring different trees is evergreen trees, and that's one. The steps in the back, yeah. Oh, also the topsoil, the blacktop, sorry, the blacktop for the driveway, because the environment issues, the weather is nothing. So when we driving or we walk is on dust, nothing blacktop, some pieces. So I need to recover again this black top.
Okay.
Other things,
Okay, well, it appears that some of the work has been started already, correct?
yeah, I was contact with Katie, and I told her because we cannot drive in the car, especially when there's in the winter time when it was snowing. So I ordered stone, mixed stone, and this is will be in the code because I asked the company and asked a couple of people about this will be very great for the driveway mix it. It will be combined and is work. So I had to make available to drive on it. That's like temporary until we get approved.
And,
At that time,
and you're,
never my daughter cars and my cars that can
right,
be.
right, right.
Yeah.
And you're also
Lot
going to be
holes. It was a
rebuilding some
lot
stairs.
holes. Yeah.
And you're also going to be rebuilding some stairs, correct?
Yeah, the stair, the problem, I am disabled. I was lost my leg. Sorry about that. And I'm sorry to tell you that. That's a long time ago. And really, the stair is wood and is very bad. And when I try to jumping up, I cannot control. It's very difficult.
Okay.
I fall down 2 times. And the step height is actually almost 10 inches, or some of them is more. So if you look about the
Okay.
picture, you see there is wood. I add this wood in the top because to make it's temporary before I come. So this wood I put in the top, if you see, is
Okay.
by 12.
Okay.
The best
All
thing
right.
for me to make the step no more than 6 inches. With 6 inches, I'm good. I can up my hand.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
gonna
Do any
want.
board members have any comments or questions?
I think that's appropriate, and I think the revision to 5-foot width is also appropriate.
Okay. Any other questions
Can I-
on this?
Let me make a comment, if I may.
Sure.
Based on the drawing, the handrail, there should be an extension at the top and at the bottom per code for the handrail, so that when you get to the bottom of the stair, the rail, and I'm assuming from the picture, it's a pipe rail, should extend beyond the tread, and the same thing at the top.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other comment on the stair or the site work?
Yes, I'm sorry, this is Bob Haley. I think the site work really needs further definition in terms of dimensions. Certainly the concept is appropriate for everything that the applicant would like to do, including the screen trees. My concern here is that over the years, the asphalt and the parking areas have grown. This, by the way, is one of the really most beautiful houses on James Street, and the carriage house in the back is a significant building of that period, based on some English prototypes. That carriage house is really quite special. I've always loved this site and the carriage house. My primary question, sir, and I'm so happy that you're taking care of this property because it has been neglected, is how many cars do you need for your project or your two buildings? Are you intending to have guests? Are you intending to have rentals? How many cars are needed? And I think this goes to the same issue that Julia was mentioning, is the codes that apply need to be looked at here. So I'd like to know how many cars you're trying to accommodate and where, if you could speak to that.
Actually, we are 6 people have cars in this house. Me, my daughters, I have 3 daughters and 2 sons. One of my son have 4 kids. We live together in the house, and my son he live in the back of the house. There is the apartment on the garage, so he lived there also. We need 6 cars for us, and we have gates, for the time they come.
Yes.
So the blueprint I did in myself, if you see, from the house to the garage to the garage, from the back of the house to the garage, this will be, I think, for now is enough and great. I don't want to lose the garden and make everything park a lot. No, I want to keep the green. Uh, Sorry about your time. One time I was outside and there is old lady, she stopped. She said, I'm over 80 years and are you the new owner? I tell her yes. She said, I used to be walking this side and I until here and I back. I'm looking about the garden. It was so beautiful. So please retain the garden green and with the flowers and make this area nice. I told her, I hope to do that. I wish I try to do the best I can. She said, we are neighbor, so please make this house nice again. I told her, how are we gonna do? Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I try this. I know this historical house. This is my dream house. Over 5 years, I'm following these guys, the owner. 5 years from 2014 until 2019, I purchased this house. It's very difficult.
That's good.
Yeah, very hard,
That's
very
great.
difficult. My family in overseas, they helped me to buy this house also. I was lose very big house like this or bigger than my home country because the war, Sorry about that. Okay, I'm happy here. I was told, Kathy, really the city, the weather is not good for me, for myself, for joy. But you love your mom, whatever, if is it beautiful or not beautiful. I love this city because
No, that's great.
this is the
That's
first
great.
city I entered to United States. So I'm all over 10 years here. I love this city. It's cold, yes. I'm from hot country, yes. But yeah, I try to do something
Terrific.
to make everything good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion, Don, if I could try and advance
Sure,
this project and a recommendation. Number one, I think we can do a partial approval with other board members approving for the stair renovation that you're intending to do. I think my recommendation further would be that we need a more definitive, and you need a more definitive site plan for the parking area to make sure that your vision of a quality garden can be achieved. I recommend here that we maybe work with you to try and advise a preliminary landscape plan that would dimension widths of the parking spaces, make sure you have what you need. At the same time, not have it done maybe by a contractor who would not have as good advice for you as would a professional landscape architect. So if you're open to that, I'd like to suggest that We do a preliminary
I
approval.
would agree with that, except it's not our jurisdiction to do the work. The
I understand.
applicant,
understand.
is going to have to go and get somebody to do that work for him. How do other board members feel about Bob's general recommendation?
I would agree that we should approve the stairs. And that we do need additional information regarding the drive. I think we need a more concrete layout of the drive and the parking for the 6 cars.
This is,
So that it
Okay.
shows the boundary of what is asphalt with dimensions, and or curves.
I agree with
Can
that.
we
I
do
agree.
our partial, can we do a motion to approve the stairs?
We can, can we just run through, because I think there are a number of people who'd like to make comments. Can we just run through all the board members to make sure we get all the comments before we,
Yeah, well, that's what I asked. Are there any other members who have comments?
I was just going to make a comment about the stairs. The stairs are fine, but we need to define what the stairs are landing on. And I agree with Julia's comment about extending the handrail to 12 inches per code, as well as mentioning of the asphalt, the proposed asphalt for the back side of the driveway there from the back of the house onward, and just a general layout of how to fit 6 cars along that existing
Right.
drive. I think that's
Let me
possible.
ask this. Sir, when do you intend to need to do the stairs?
As soon as I can do the stair, that's when I can go outside to buy.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the stair is very necessary for me. It's difficult. Really, it's difficult. Yeah.
And where are the stairs going to land to? Where are they going to lead to? On the outside?
It's the same old stairs. We're gonna remove the wood one. We're gonna put the stone one. We're gonna put the stone and the other stone, the same old one. We don't need more than the size. This is 4 step. We're gonna make it 5 step to make easy. That 5 step will be great for me.
When you step off the stairs, you're stepping onto, it looks like a brick paver or a concrete paver.
This brick, and yeah, is very
That's
strong area. It's a strong area. I'm from the family. I was working with as in structure, so with concrete, with stone, with stainless. Yeah, I'm structure for not wood, no, for concrete. I have experience in my life, and I did in the house here, same stair. I did in the old house before I purchased this house.
Is there going to be a new foundation for the replacement stair?
We're gonna do the foundation, no
New
problem.
Foundation. So after you excavate for the new foundation, will the brick pavers be replaced?
Yeah,
Replaced with what?
okay, we're gonna make the face for the stem. We're gonna make it brick, ready brick, and the stem itself. I like to do Indiana stone. Yeah, Indiana stone.
the stairs will be stone and with the brick risers, but the
It's
platform
like
that it
the,
lands
it's like the
on,
picture. It's like the picture I sent, or I did. Is we're gonna make the front is a brick, and around the both sides is a brick. The brick. The top of the step is I try to keep 1 step, and I think 12 inch is not really comfortable with me. Maybe 14 inch with the width of the step, 14 inch with 5 feet, because the original one is 5 feet, almost, yeah, 5 feet.
Okay, so.
I think another comment I would make is that the stair really needs a good railing, a good solid railing, as you mentioned, and it would be more appropriate to have it be the wood that matches the back porch than metal railing. So I think there's a little more work we need to do before, and we want to get this thing going for you for the back stairs. That's fully understandable. But I think there's not enough accuracy of the detail. A little more work, a little more definition would improve this considerably. What I'm saying here is that a wood railing would be more appropriate than what you illustrate. And a foundation for the stair should be included. And maybe that work with just a little bit more definition proceed immediately, leaving the paving and the pavers outside that area for the driveway work.
It sounds
There
like
needs to be some
that we
further
should-
definition, but I'm curious about the existing stair has railings on both sides. He's showing a railing on one side only. I agree with Julia's comment about the extension of the handrail beyond the bottom riser. And I think that's important, and that's probably easier done with a pipe rail, and on the utility stair at the back, I don't have a real problem with that.
True.
Consider whether or not it's going to be on both sides or just one side. And I'm not sure that we're clear on exactly how this is going to attach and the foundation and the replacement of pavement. The other question I have is about the topsoil. Is the topsoil fill limited to the area inside the driveway? Is there any topsoil around the perimeter, and are we affecting drainage? And
It sounds like to me that we need to hold this entire application and potentially with staff and one or two board members assist the applicant step by step to get those things that we need so that we can get this finally approved.
Yeah, it's an extensive project, and I think
It
a
is.
little more definition would make it successful.
Jeff, do you have any
Sir, I
comment
think what
about the
we're
use of
saying-
arbor?
I think what we're saying is that things generally look good, and I don't think anybody has any issue. We just need some more details. And Kate will help you with that, as well as one or two board members if needed. And we'll try to get this done for you as quickly as we possibly can. Kate will get in touch with you, and we'll go from there.
And Cynthia has her hand up as well. So
Cynthia.
Yes.
I just, just a second.
go for it, Cynthia. Cynthia, you're muted. Here we go. Try again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I agree with Dan. I think at a back utility stair that the pipe rail is fine. And I do agree that it's probably best to be on both sides of the stairs.
Okay.
Yes, I will do the both sides, just like this. And I draw just this to show you, I make simple. But actually I need both sides because I'm gonna put my cane in the side and I handle one side. That's when I go up. When I go down, I have to use the other side. So I'm gonna do, I will not take a lot change. I try to keep the picture for the house in the end is same thing.
Okay, well,
So, yeah.
you know, as I said, I think things are going in very much the right direction. I think the board is happy with what you're doing. We just need a little bit more detail, a little bit more answers. And so we're going to put this on hold, and Kate is going to get in touch with you right away, and we're going to help you get the answers that you need so we can get this approved.
Thank you so much.
Jeff, do you have any comment on the use of arborvitae along the line for screen?
It's a typical solution, Dan. I don't really have an issue with it. You can look at hemlock as well, but you've got your cons with any vegetation there. So arborvitae is kind of the fail-proof go-to.
Is it?
Quick screen.
All right.
Weed.
Dan, what's your concern?
Sounds good.
Sorry.
Sounds good.
My concern is that arborvitae can get out of control and become too large over the years.
Yeah.
We can discuss a few of those details when we are speaking with the applicant as we go forward.
And
So we
plant
can
options,
move
you're
things
right.
forward. We're going to put this on hold. And Kate, do you have what you need to
I do. I
contact
have
the
what I
applicant?
need, and I will be back in touch with the applicant right away, as you say.
Okay, super. Okay, going back to old business, is Ed on the line?
Just I have one small question, please. About, I know what we need about the driveway and the stair. About the top soil, about, because we need to start, now we are in the spring and summer is coming. I hope everyone is good. So can we continue with the top soil and we bring some trees or some?
Wait until Kate gets in touch with you. We'll do that right away.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
you
thank
so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
You too, sir.
Okay. Is Ed on the line for 700 North Salina?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So Kate, you want to lead that a little bit?
Sure, let me see if I can find, okay, no, that's the minutes, hold on. So at the last meeting, second here, I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. Here we go. Okay, yes, at the last meeting,
Oh, that's it. Okay.
we discussed 700 North Salina Street and the special permit. And the board had recommended the removal of some of the signage on the North Salina Street side as well as on the Division Street side. My understanding through Andrea and the photographs that she sent is that Mr. Withers went ahead and removed that signage. And, in an effort to move his special permit, the whole special permit process along. But I know that the board had some additional comments about the awnings and the quality of the building underneath the awnings, and had offered to provide some advice to the applicant, to discuss those, what else could be done that could really sort of enhance enhance the business in that building, based on, possibly removing the awnings and some other design.
Right. And I want to just remind the board that this is a special permit application. Our jurisdiction is strictly to comment, and I want to caution the board about overstepping our jurisdiction. That said, who on the board wants to make a few suggestions to the owner here, or the tenant, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'll step up. This is Bob Haley. Welcome, Edward. Your building's we enjoyed the review of your building last time, and obviously we looked at it from advising in terms of the signing ordinance and the quality of your building. I think in the discussion, we looked at what's the photographs kind of indicated, what's happened over the years with different owners and different uses, or the same use but with different owners, and realized that a lot of additive things have happened to it. And we were simply looking at it to have a discussion with you, which I'd almost, I'm glad you're here, but I'd almost rather meet you at the site and just generally support your goals with some advice. But as Don, our chairman, has just said, we're advising. My point here was to bring up some old things that have accumulated on this building over the years and that have taken away from basically the character of the building, that are under some of the signage. And there was an era when awnings were so popular and it was included as signage, and they began to cover up a lot of historic details in buildings. The building you have, of course, has brickwork underneath the awnings on the first floor in particular, and the horizontal awning as a design element cuts your building in half visually. Sorry, me?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're trying to tip that one. I understand. I tried to tip it too. But the point here is that the detail of a two-story brick building is the original character of the building, with the brick detailing over the windows that you can see underneath the awning. So this advice, and it was only advice towards the character of the building, was take a holistic look at your signage application and what else might be done to really bring the character of this building back to most of its original features. that would be more appropriate, certainly not for a review because we're only looking at it in terms of signage. What we do on signage is look at the signing ordinance and see what's recommended and required. And then we look at what the needs and we try and find a balance between the two, but we really try and uphold the signage ordinance. So those are the comments I have. We did get into further discussion, which I'd rather do maybe not here. There may be appropriate just for a meeting with you at the site towards your building, such as obviously the implications. We can't talk about all the implications of changes to your building because we're really looking at just the signage. I think.
Okay, so since we don't want to confuse the applicant, the sign on Salina and
What?
division that we
Yes.
recommended to be removed have been removed. And what we're mainly talking about is a discussion and advising of removal of some of the awnings. That's the main function. And there could be additional details that we'd be more than happy to talk to you about. What are your feelings, Ed, about removal of some of those awnings?
Well, the awnings have been there for so long. In the past, they've gotten a special permit to have those awnings up. So I'm going to assume those awnings have been grandfathered in all this time. I mean, if from what I look at it as, if those awnings have been there all this time and they've been okay, and there hasn't been any, I haven't seen anything in the records that show any complaints about the awnings. I didn't see any reason to remove the awnings. I mean, the suggestion is
Okay.
fine to remove them, but I mean, if they have been there and they've kind of been a staple of the building.
We are not requiring that. We do not have the jurisdiction to require that. So please understand that. So at this point, probably the best thing to do is we've made our recommendation and you've already acceded to those regarding those two signs. And at some point we'll put, or not at some point, but we'll put in our comments that recommendations about, if you're willing, or the owner is willing, recommendations about further improvements beginning with the awnings. But again, they're only going to be recommendations. They're not going to be requirements. We don't have that jurisdiction.
Okay.
Okay?
If I can ask you, Ed,
Kate?
are you running the new jazz club? Is that what you're doing?
No, it's not that I'm running a new jazz club. I'm a restaurant and bar.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I want to be able to bring in like jazz bands and things of that such during happy hour.
Great.
Right now business is slow, so I want to reach out to.
Yeah, we could use a few happy hours for sure.
We could all use it.
So that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
I have a question for you all. With signage, where do you guys prefer to have the signage at? And is there a perimeter you guys go by of how big you want it, how tall you want it? So going forward, when
Well, there is the sign ordinance, Ed. There is the sign ordinance, and your application is to exceed that. And I think we already talked about that. You've got signage on your awning. I guess if there's any other specific sign that you want, I would talk to Kate and the ordinance department before we look at anything else.
Okay.
Those guidelines,
All right.
the number of signs and the signage of signs, that's all spelled out in the signage ordinance. And as you said, Edward, over the years, those have all been kind of special permitted way beyond what the ordinance is suggesting. The ordinance is in place to try and maintain both the character of buildings and not have the buildings become signage all over them. Yeah.
But I would also add, if I could just quickly about the signage, is that the Landmark Preservation Board really looks at, every building is very unique. And there are opportunities to place, it's hard to come up with a boilerplate of where signage should go necessarily based on the architecture of particular buildings. Through the signage ordinance, sign ordinance is there. But people do frequently ask for sign waivers to be allowed to do something a little bit different with their signage, and the LPB has been supportive of those efforts when it's been appropriate. So with the signage, the board would absolutely work with Mr. Withers on that.
Edward,
Yeah,
let me
I
go
would
one-
ask this, Kate. Kate, if you could go and speak with Ed after the meeting, today, tomorrow, the next day, Monday, whatever, and with the removal of the signs already, see what your really needs are, and Kate can give you a first reaction, and then we can take it from there.
Okay.
And Ed, I wanted to say one other thing, just to plant a vision in your mind here. The two half round or the curved awnings over your two entrances would have been done originally with this building. They were small, they were awnings just over the two entrances. They were circular, which gave it a feature, and they usually had street numbers. Those two are terrific, and they would have been original. And that's the kind of appropriate historic review we look to signage coming forward. And in your own mind's eye, if you could picture this with those two wonderful entrance awnings as curved, horizontal awnings running over brickwork was not done originally. Awnings were put over the windows. So these would have been narrow individual awnings like a residence, which was done in businesses all over, unless it was a full glass storefront. Then an awning went the full width of the glass storefront. So in your own mind's eye, what we're trying to do here is to create an image that would have been authentic to that building. And then we'll turn it back to Kate and you for coordination. We'll help in any way you want.
Kate, I have
And
one
again, these will be
question.
recommendations.
Kate, I have one question about the building itself in terms of the sign ordinance. When this is reviewed for sign ordinance compliance, would this be considered one building, or would the smaller building that has the balcony be considered a separate building?
I believe, actually, I believe that because my understanding, it's all on one parcel. So it would be viewed as one building, but but it's a corner building. And that's something I'm not sure about, how they deal with actually, it would be the division side and the
Right.
Salina Street side. But in terms
So that's
of,
something you can do a little research on so we can better advise Ed.
yep,
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. And Ed, we can't wait for the happy hours to begin.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on, Ed. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So we're moving on to discussion phase, and the really only item I have in discussion is just a quick update on what's going on with the temple. There's been some action by some counselors, some discussions with the city corporate council, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I believe where it stands now is it looks likely, no one has said this specifically, but it looks likely that the council is going to move on this sooner than we thought. And they're probably going to modify our recommendation and approve the sanctuary only. So we just want to update people. That's where it is. The Common Council has the authority to do that. And I know Kate has been sitting in an economic development meetings where a lot of this has come up. And that appears to be the direction things are going. Kate, do you want to add anything?
yeah, I mean, I was just going to give just the barest overview, and that the Planning Commission did forward the recommendation on to Common Council, and next Wednesday will be the study session. And I agree with what Don said, that it seems as though the wind is blowing in the direction of a modification. And if that is the case, then the important, if it's just the sanctuary that will be part of the local, what will be protected, then it's the council is going to need to be explicit about what they mean by that. And that might be an opportunity for us to, or, to be able to weigh in to say it needs to be the complete sanctuary, And that was discussions that we had already begun with the
Right, applicant.
developers.
And we will, with Kate's assistance, we'll respond to the council and, certainly support what the board recommends. Yet at the same time, I think all of us agree that the sanctuary is incredibly significant, incredibly important, and must be saved.
I think the other thing is that that certainly, and this might be, Kate, something that you can talk about with the legal counsel, is that the full history of the congregation can be included in the revised designation for the sanctuary itself, so that the full history of the congregation is listed, but it does not have to represent the retention of all of the other buildings.
So that's just more an FYI for everybody's information, and Kate will keep us posted if in fact something goes in a different direction.
Right. Thank you. Good.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh, just for the record, Tom is with us, and Lisa as well. So everyone was
Everybody's here.
present.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. Terrific. Well, I thank all you for coming online and getting this done, and maybe someday I'll go visual, but I hate going visual.
That's okay.
We're all set. I'm just not that vain, you guys. Okay.
So is the
Good.
meeting
So I'd like a
adjourned?
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
To adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much, folks. Maybe our next meeting, who knows, Kate? Any chance of the next meeting maybe being in person in May?